Alright, so there are a total of 41 different fruits and Blox fruits, and today's video I'm going to be doing an updated tier list for all these fruits in PvP. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, join the Discord, like the video, comment to support your boy Croach. Anyways, let's get started. Alright, so for the first fruit we have to rank is the rocket fruit. This rocket fruit is legendary and probably the best fruit on Blox. Okay, no jokes around, but this is probably the worst fruit on Blox. This is an automatic D tier. Alright, so next up we have is a spin fruit. I'm pretty sure it's recently got a rework, but it is still pretty bad in PvP in my opinion. But personally, I would not put a D tier with rocket. I'm going to instead putting it with C tier. Alright, so for the next fruit we have is the blade fruit. This fruit used to be known as the chop fruit, and to be honest, it is pretty good in PvP. The fruit isn't good, but the special ability you have is really good. With this fruit, sword cannot attack you. So that means any sword users are basically useless against you. They have to use their fighting style against you, and that is pretty good in PvP since there are a lot of sword users. But when you're not versing a sword user, it could turn out to be pretty bad. So for that purpose, I'm going to be putting this in OK tier, which is B. Alright, so for the next fruit we have is the spring fruit. The spring fruit is not bad for sword users as you have an insane amount of transportation, but other than that, there is nothing you can really do with the spring fruit. You can't really start any combos or end combos because it doesn't really do a lot of damage either if you want a main fruit with it. So with that, I'm gonna have to put it in C tier behind spin fruit. Alright, so for the next fruit we have is the bomb fruit. This bomb fruit used to be the worst fruit in the game before the rocket fruit came and all of that. It used to be the first fruit which 5,000 coins, but now it's a bit higher, but it's still just as bad, to be honest. This fruit doesn't really have any potential. You can maybe spam it, you can't really become a sword user with it. So with that, I'm gonna have to put this fruit in D tier above rocket. Alright, so for the next fruit we have is the first Logia fruit in this tier list, the smoke fruit. In PvE, this fruit would be really good as it is a Logia, but in PvP it is not that good at all. There's nothing you can really do with the smoke fruit as it doesn't really provide much combos for sword users, fruit users, or gun users. So with that in mind, I'm gonna have to put this fruit in C tier at the top of C tier though. Alright, so next up we have is a spike fruit. A spike fruit is not that bad either. It's a pretty cool concept for a fruit, but honestly this fruit is not good at all in my opinion. I'm gonna have to put this at the bottom of C or top of D. I'm gonna put it at the bottom of C. So next up we have is the flame fruit. This fruit has two modes, the unawakened form and the awakened form. The awakened form isn't bad at all if you really want to spam and do all that, but it's not good for sword users or gun users, and to be honest there isn't that much combo potential. There's a bunch of other better fruits, but at the end of the day I'm still gonna put this at the bottom of A. Next up we have is one of the worst fruits in Blox fruits, the falcon fruit. Bro, this fruit, I don't even know why I made it. This fruit is horrendously bad. I don't think I've ever used this fruit in my life. But with that, I'm gonna have to put it in D tier in between rocket and bomb fruit. Next up we have is the ice fruit. This fruit also has two stages, the awakened form and the unawakened form. The awakened form is pretty good for combos with fruit users and sword users and gun users, so it's very versatile and is honestly a very good fruit. It is also a Logia fruit, so I'm gonna have to put this at the top of A tier. Next up we have is a sand fruit. The sand fruit is also a Logia fruit, so it's good for PvE, but this is a PvP ranking. This fruit also honestly has some unexpected good combos. I honestly got pieced up by sand fruit a lot of times. I didn't think it was that good. There are some really good combos you could do, some good one-shot combos, and yeah, I'm gonna have to put this at the top of B tier. Next off we have is the dark fruit. This fruit also has two stages, awakened and unawakened. The awakened form is honestly pretty good. You can do some really good combos with a sword user, gun user, or a fruit user, so I'm gonna have to put an A tier in between flame and ice. So now we have the diamond fruit. This fruit got reworked this update, and honestly it got reworked for the better. Before this update, this fruit used to be one of the worst fruits in Blox fruits, but now I have to change my mind, bro. This, in my opinion, is really good for PvP, so I'm gonna have to put it at the top of A tier. Next off we have is the life fruit. The life fruit also has two stages, awaken and unawaken. Awakened life fruit is honestly really spammable and really good for fruit users. Sword users and gun users, it's not entirely that good, but it's still up there. So I'm gonna have to put this at the top of A tier above diamond fruit in my opinion. Next off we have is the rubber fruit, Luffy's fruit. This fruit is very cool and a good concept for a fruit like gear 2 and all of that, but once later on updates it's going to be much better with gear 3, gear 4, and gear 5 even, but right now it is not up there, so I'm going to have to put this at the middle of B tier. Next off we have is the barrier fruit. This fruit has been a need for a rework for ages, and the Blox devs just do not like this fruit. Come on, give some barrier fruit some love. But yeah, I'm gonna have to put this in the bottom of D tier, even below rocket fruit. Next off we have is the ghost fruit. This fruit is pretty bad to be honest. Like for its value, I don't think it's that good. I've never really used it before. It's pretty average, it's pretty mid, so I'm gonna have to put it below rubber but in B tier. Next off we have is the magma fruit. This fruit awaken is honestly really spammable, even more spammable than life fruit. You can't really become a sword user or even a gun user with this fruit. You just gotta spam awaken magma. So with that, I'm gonna have to put it at the very top of A tier. Next off we have is the quake fruit. This again has two stages, awaken and unawaken. In my opinion, this awakened form is sick. You can spawn tsunamis and you can actually feel like Whitebeard, but this fruit is not entirely that good for PvP. It's a bit above average. I'm gonna have to put it at the bottom of B tier, I mean top of B tier, bottom of A tier. I'm gonna put it at the top of B tier. Next off we have is the Buddha fruit. If you've ever versed a Buddha in 1v1s, you honestly know how dreadful it is. Buddhas have an insane amount of HP and they just spam M1s. They have an insane M1 range, so I'm gonna have to put this in S tier, so the first S tier of the video. Next we have the love fruit. The love fruit honestly has some crazy combos you could do, but you kind of have to be skilled. It's kind of a skilled fruit. There's a lot of unskilled fruits, but I think love is one of those skilled fruits in Blox fruits. With that, I'm gonna have to put it in the middle of B tier. Next off we have is the spider fruit. This used to be called the string fruit and is Dolphamingo's fruit. This fruit honestly has a lot of potential, but I don't see a lot of people using it, and that's for a reason. It's not that OP, it's just a bit above average. With that, I'm gonna put it in the middle of B tier, just below Quake. Next off we have is the sound fruit. This fruit, to be honest, I have never used before, and that is for a reason. I do not like this fruit whatsoever. I just don't think it's that good for PvP. I think it's average and it's not a fun fruit to use either. You kind of have to be skilled to use it. I'm kind of an unskilled player, so I'm gonna have to put this at the middle of B tier. Next up we have is Phoenix fruit. This fruit also has two stages, awaken and unawaken, and the awaken form is pretty OP, not gonna lie. This fruit I'm gonna have to put it at A tier. It's a very sick looking fruit too. Next off we have is the portal fruit. This is my favorite fruit to use in PvP because of how unskilled it is. This fruit, if you're a gun user or sword user, is extremely OP and you could easily do some one-shot combos. With that, I'm gonna have to put it at the top of S tier. Next off we have is the rumble fruit. This fruit is pretty average in general, even the awakened form. The awakened form used to be really overhyped, but I just think it really fell off and I don't think it's that good anymore. With that, I'm gonna put it in the middle of B tier. Next off we have is the pain fruit. Back in update 13 when I used to play this game, this fruit used to be OP. It used to be the big three for the sword fruits with ice and dark fruit. But now with all these different metas, this fruit is really not that OP anymore. With that, I'm gonna have to put it with the top of C tier. Next we have is the blizzard fruit. This fruit honestly has some really unexpected combos and can be used if you're really skilled at PvP. But personally, I'm not very skilled at PvP, but I'm still gonna put this at the bottom of A tier. Next off we have is gravity fruit. This fruit is the worst mythical fruit in all of Blox fruits. It is in desperate need for a rework as well. I would love to see this fruit have some love and be actually good in PvP, but for now it is not good at PvP whatsoever. So I'm gonna put this at the top of C tier. Next we have is mammoth fruit. This fruit is honestly a very good fruit. It's a transformation fruit or a beast fruit, and it has a transformation which is kind of OP, so I'm gonna have to put this at the bottom of S tier. Next off we have is a T-Rex fruit. This fruit is also a beast fruit and also has a transformation which is pretty OP since you don't need a meter to transform. With that in mind, I'm gonna have to put it at the bottom of S tier. Next off we have is a dove fruit. This is one of the OG fruits in Blox fruits and also has two forms, awaken and unawaken. both forms are honestly pretty OP. With the awakened form, this is 100% S tier, right in the middle of S tier, right below Buddha and above Mammoth. Next off we have is the Shadow Fruit. This fruit is pretty underrated in my opinion, as there are some crazy combos you could do with this fruit, and it's not really used that much. With that in mind, I'm gonna have to put this in A tier, right below Light Fruit. Now we have the Venom Fruit. This fruit is very spammable for fruit users and also has a transformation. This fruit is also very underrated in my opinion, as there are not a lot of users for the Venom Fruit. This fruit, I'm gonna have to put it at the middle of A tier, right below Diamond but above Shadow. Next off we have is the Control Fruit. This fruit is one of the sickest fruits in the anime, and I think it's really deserving of a rework. I heard rumors that there's gonna be a rework this update, but that has not become true. I hope Blox Fruits devs really consider a rework for this fruit and make it come out in the next few updates. But with this, bro, this fruit kind of sucks still. I'm gonna have to put this fruit in the middle of B tier. Next off we have is the Spirit Fruit. This fruit is very skilled, and if you're good at the game, you'll be good with this fruit. But I'm not skilled obviously, so I'm gonna have to put this at A tier still, right above Magma. Next up we have is Leopard Fruit. This is one of the most broken fruits in the game and has a transformation and is also a beast fruit. This transformation, you don't need a bar at all, so you can transform right at the start of any fight and just spam your moves. With this in mind, I'm gonna have to put it in S tier, right above Buddha. Next off we have is the Kitsune Fruit. This fruit used to be the best fruit in all of Blox Fruits. It is a transformation fruit and is very broken. It's the fastest fruit in the game if you have Mink V4, and with that in mind, I'm gonna have to put it at the top of S tier. So now we have the new fruits that just came out in Blox Fruits. At first we have is the Gas Fruit. This fruit is very underappreciated in my opinion. I have not seen it in PvP, maybe because it just came out, but like I think it's still in S tier. I think it's relatively the same as Mammoth and T-Rex, but I'm still going to put it at the bottom of S tier. I'm not really sure where to place it, but I feel like that's a good place. Next up we have is the newest fruit in all of Blox Fruits. We have is the Yeti Fruit. This fruit is like Leopard, very similar to Leopard. I'm pretty sure it's worth the exact same as well. It's a transformation fruit without any bar as well, and is very broken. I'm going to have to put it maybe in between. I think it's better than Portal. It's second best fruit right now. Next off we have is the Western Dragon. This fruit is very broken. When I tell you it's broken, I made a PvP video on it and I didn't even know how to use Dragon. I was just spamming and it still worked. In my opinion, this is the best fruit in all of Blox Fruits, so I'm gonna have to put it in top of S tier. Next up we have is the Eastern Dragon. Like the Western Dragon, it is very broken, extremely broken. I have not used this fruit much at all, but it's very similar to the Western Dragon obviously. But in my opinion, the transformation for the Western Dragon is a bit better for PvP, but I'm not sure for PvE. So with that in mind, I'm going to put the Eastern Dragon as the second best fruit in all of Blox Fruits. So there is my tier list for all 41 fruits in Blox Fruits. If you guys have any changes you guys would want to do or don't agree with something, make sure to comment down. If you guys also agree with this, make sure to comment down. Also make sure to subscribe and like. And this is my tier list. I'm gonna see you guys next time. Peace out. Can't mess with rappers, they be bogus. Rather get the pack and keep it open. Big dripper stand up in the ocean. Everybody trapping, we get lotion. He ain't 4P yet, but he ain't got motion. Made a half a ticket, not promotion. Sweet.